Good evening, Fiends. Are you ready? Let's get spooky.
Hello, Fiends, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Get Spooky. I'm Vamp.
And I'm AJ.
And today we are talking all about social media horrors.
That was way better. That was
H-O-R-R-O-R-S, not to be confused with whores. Every time we say it, we're like, do we need to change the title? Because it sounds like we're saying whores.
Whores. I mean, we can talk about horrors too, but...
And that's a totally different topic than social media horrors.
That's the podcast, Let's Get Sexy.
That's the after dark version of Let's Get Spooky, Let's Get Sexy. Maybe we'll revisit that in the future when we're really desperate. I don't know. I feel like we have plenty of topics to continue on thus far. So we are going to run down the lane of crazy things that happen on social media, murders and abductions, and what else happens?
It's not just
bad Tinder
emojis
dates
and smiley faces. There's some dark stuff happening on social media.
There is. And I feel like we're in the time where, remember when there was just MySpace?
Oh, MySpace was so great.
It was really great.
We're really aging ourselves here, but I loved MySpace because you can really customize your page to how you want it. Like right when you got into kind of coding and HTML kind of stuff.
If you were a smart little nerd, you could.
The amount of hours I spent searching on Google for how people were what codes people were using, and then customizing it, and then and
it took time and effort because
it wasn't so much time. It didn't always work.
You didn't just pick this up and you're talk to your phone and tell it and it would look it up for you. You legitimately had to search,
type out,
and figure stuff out.
Everything,
and it was actual research, because I think research now isn't really research. It's just talking to a device and it spitting out results.
I try, but my Alexa, she's so bad. I'll be like,
she's a dummy.
Can my dog eat blueberries? And she's like, here's what the internet said. I'm like, no, you're literally just tell me yes or no.
Yes or no. Yes, your dog can eat blueberries. Luca loves blueberries. They can't have grapes.
No
or
grapes.
Any descendant of grape. I don't think they have raisins, right? Because raisin is just a dried up grape.
Dried up.
Talk about a tangent.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, here we are. Dog news.
But MySpace, back in the day, there was MySpace, and MySpace had no competition. There was AOL chat, but that wasn't really social media.
Yeah,
it was a method of communication.
I was on AIM.
Yeah. And then Facebook came into the mix, and it was different. It was more of the range of the type of social media that we have now.
Yeah.
And then what came next? Was it Twitter? Facebook, Twitter.
I mean, there's Tumblr and things like that. But we're not really.
No, that's stupid. Tumblr. I still have a Tumblr, and I never really understood it. Tumblr and Pinterest and all those weird.
Pinterest,
which I have appreciation for them, but I also don't have time.
I still have it because.
Did you make mood boards on Pinterest?
No, it was more because when I want to make something, I have to pin. I'd pin things, and even if it's I'm making something completely different than what other people are doing, I still like to see other people being creative to help my creative juices flow, and then it's a whole thing.
But now we have 500 million social media platforms, and you have to be on all of them because apparently
if not, you're not cool.
One. Yeah, you're not cool. But the amount of things that there are now, it's insane. I wake up in the morning and I have a checklist of things that I have to go through and post on this and share on this, and they're competitors, so they don't all link together, and it's just a lot of work. We have a new player in the game.
Up. Threads,
which is basically just Instagram's Twitter.
Yeah, it's Instagram's Twitter. It's linked to your account, which is kind of cool. So
setup
was so easy because you could just do import from Instagram as long as you all the same stuff from your thing, and it had your handle already, because that's one thing. If I go to a new social platform and I'm not quick enough to get my handle.
It's the bane of my existence.
So mad. So mad. The B-reel, I wanted to do B-reel because I'm like, oh, everyone seems like they're having fun doing B-reel. And then
I don't even know what that one is.
That's the one where like at a certain time it alerts you and you have to like do it. It takes a picture from your front camera and your back camera. And then it puts it in like picture-in-picture type thing.
Like with your authorization, right?
Yes.
Oh, so it's like you open the app, the time, and then you do it.
Yeah, and you have to do it like at a certain time. And I'm like, and people were doing it, and it was and it was more like, you know, because on Instagram, like you can take, who knows when you took the photo, and you can like that one. It's like it's more spontaneous, and it seemed kind of fun. And I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. And then I went on there, and someone had my handle, and I said, well,
I hate this
already. This isn't it. And then I went to TikTok. Somebody has my handle, but then TikTok was becoming such a thing, and like
you were anti for so long.
I was anti for so long.
I don't have that.
And I'm like, fine, I'll download it. And then my mom was sending me 50 million TikToks, and it was like hard to watch because if you don't have the app, it's a whole thing. So I finally did it. I have a different handle on there, and I'm very upset. If you go to my TikTok, I don't have any videos.
Are you protesting? You're like, nope, not going to use it.
I just don't know what to post. That's the thing. I'm such an old person. I don't know what to post on it. I somehow have followers, and like people will continue to follow me, and I
follow you, and I'm like, what the hell, AJ?
I don't post it.
I came for some content.
And then I'm like, if I make an Instagram reel, is it socially acceptable to then put that on my TikTok, or do I need to re-edit it to be more for the TikTok audience?
You are overthinking it.
I overthink it.
She's like, smoke is coming out of her ears right now. She's like freaking out right now.
For people who are listening.
For Threads, one thing that is a horror about it, I don't know if you saw this yet, but if you delete your Threads, it deletes your Instagram.
Oh yeah, because they're connected.
Now they're linked, but the thing is, they weren't linked before, and it didn't tell you when or maybe it did tell you, and you just
who knows?
You were like swipe whatever, yes, but just buyer beware. So if you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm going to delete it. I think you can delete the app, but you can't delete the actual, like if you say I want to delete my account, it also deletes your Instagram. So just a little tidbit of knowledge that might be helpful. Okay. Because I didn't know that. Someone told me and I was like, what? Not that I would.
I mean, it makes sense because it's the same company and they're obviously using the same.
But it's a separate app. It's your same account.
I think it's tied to something probably tied with your account. Two became one and they were
now they are forever together. So one of my, I wouldn't say it's like my favorite movie, but one of the movies under this category is called Spree. It's the guy from Stranger Things. I forget his name.
From Stranger Things.
And he is an Uber driver that kills people. And when this came out, I thought it was based on a true story, but I didn't really look too much into it. And then I read some articles, and one of the guys that made the movie was like, it is based on a true story, and they didn't specifically say who it was, but people are speculating that it is based on the case of John Dalton, who is an Uber driver in Michigan who murdered 6 people in Kalamazoo. I like saying that. Kalamazoo. In February 2016, he pled guilty to all charges in 2019 and was charged with life imprisonment. So it's not like identical to the story, but in Spree, Kurt, the character, is trying to get famous on the internet. And how else do you do that? Is you document your life for social media. Yeah. And when it's not happening fast enough, you're like, I'm going to eat the hottest chip. And nobody cares. You're like, I'm going to kill people because that'll get attention. And
they'll also put you in jail.
True. But you could get a lot of attention before you go to jail. And I think that's a logic with a lot of people. We've talked about other topics. There's a lot of
spree killers and,
and you're like, there's other ways.
That's their thing that they want to do. They want to make an impact and have their name be.
Right. And they want to get famous quick. So they're like, I don't really care about what happens after. I just want this to happen quickly. And if I got to murder a couple people in the Uber, I got to do what I got to do. So that one's really fun. It's super unhinged. And you're watching it and you're like, oh my God, this can't be real. But apparently it was partially real at some point.
Partially real.
And that one I think is available on Hulu. Or at least that's where I watched it.
I recently saw the poster for it, and it looks, I don't know if I need to watch the movie, but the poster is like him, and it's like super bright neon colors and stuff, and I'm like, okay, this seems very interesting. I need to watch it.
It's very in your lane. You like that kind of movie. It's super fun. You've got...
I have Dash Cam, which came out in 2021. I know we've talked about this. I know you're not a huge fan. No. I liked it. I'm a big fan of found footage stuff, and I just thought it was really creative in how they did it. The director, Rob Savage, he also did Host, which is very good. And he also did The Boogeyman, which recently came out and also is very good. So
different kinds of movies.
Definitely, yeah.
It was just that
Boogeyman
one wasn't
was
for me.
way different than Dash Cam and Host.
Very, very, very different.
But very good.
Okay, Rob, you know I love you. I loved Boogeyman. Dash Cam just wasn't for me. I'm not a huge fan of found footage films. Like Blair Witch.
Opposite.
Wanna love it.
This is the scale from not so much of a fan to
and I just
found footage.
There's some kinds that I'm just like, no, can't do it. And I try. I'm like, I give everything a shot, but I in my mind, it's just not for me.
Not every genre of horror is for everyone. That's what makes it so great. It's because we all like different things.
Yep. We find our lane.
Understand.
Sometimes we veer off, and sometimes we're like, absolutely not. I'm not getting into the slow lane.
Sometimes we sit in our car and rap and do a live stream, and then somehow that turns into a horror. Oh wait, that's Dash Cam.
You know what? I do have to say that the end of Dash Cam was fucking hilarious.
Oh my gosh, when she's rapping through the credits.
That was a rad part.
That was so good. Yeah.
And she was like really like freestyle
and that's what she
rapping.
does. And that's the thing. Like she really does this, which is nuts. They just made it into a movie.
And I just feel like if I would have been exposed to that sooner, I might have had a little bit more love for it.
That's how they should start the movie.
Just start hooking me right at the beginning. But at the end, we were watching the credits, and I was like, oh, this can't keep going like the whole time, right?
It went the entire
And it was so funny, and she was just like ripping everyone apart.
Oh
and
yeah,
I laughed so hard.
Was not just a rap, but it was like a roast. She was like totally reading all these people. It was great.
It was great. I mean, if nothing else, the found footage wasn't for me, but the end credits was. I was like,
one thing I would say about the found footage aspect of it, because if I watch a found footage movie on the big screen, sometimes I'll get sick. This one, since most of it was from like the view of like her camera sitting on the dash, I didn't get sick. So thank you.
I think that's my thing too, is in the back of my mind, I'm totally anti it, because watching things like the Blair Witch where the camera's like this the whole time.
They're running from things.
I know, but I want to vomit the whole time and I just can't enjoy it. Like I can't enjoy 4DX movies. I can't.
Oh, Scream 6 and 4DX was amazing.
Absolutely
not. Like whenever there was stabs, they would hit you.
Yeah, I'm not paying to get beat up. The first and only 4DX was Thor Ragnarok, probably not the right movie to see in 4DX because you were just getting beat up. Like I had pains in my body after I walked away, and I was like, I paid actual dollars for that. I paid dollars to get beat up and then assaulted with smells and water, and it was just...
that's the only thing. The smells are never good. Just take the smells out, because for Scream 6, they kept doing this one smell for everything. When they would walk outside, when Ghostface would show up, when somebody would eat something, like it was one smell for all of them, and I'm like, what is it? Smelled like
dead?
No, it smelled like a chemically
house?
Kind of burning hair.
Yum.
It was gross.
Like just like do like waffle cone smell. Everyone loves waffle cone smell. It doesn't have to be relevant, but if you're gonna assault us with smell, at least make it enjoyable. We paid like $30 to be here.
Fun fact: Ghostface smells like waffle cones.
You heard it here first.
I mean, who's gonna dispute that?
Still not gonna see 4DX, but you know,
that's fine.
What's
your next one?
I have The Social Dilemma. This one's not scary. Well, this one's not scary in the sense that it's a horror movie. It's scary in the sense that it is real life. So this is basically all the social media big tech guys talking to you and telling you about the things that social media is doing, all the data it's collecting, how it works.
Stealing all your information. Yeah.
It's breaking down the addiction to social media and how bad it is on society and all the things that it is going to lead to, and it is already currently doing to youth. And I feel like it doesn't necessarily just affect youth. I feel like it's more so just the general population.
Yeah.
If you're linked in with the cell phone and you're participating in any sort of social media on the internet, you're part of what they're talking about. And I highly recommend watching it just so you're aware. I mean, our information is all over the internet. There's nothing.
Yeah.
We're just aware of the fact that that's the case, but our information has been public forever. There's so many things that you sign up for. You check the little box, you don't read it. You're basically giving away your information. In my case, I don't really worry about it too much because I'm like, whatever, they already have it. If you really want to find it bad enough, you can find it. Yeah. But the show just breaks down what's going on, and the thing that's really interesting, it's people that are a part of the issue. And most of them or some of them are not currently working for the companies anymore. So you're getting that insight of like, no, this is what they're not telling you.
Yeah.
And it's freaking scary. It's like the whole AI thing. It's like when you dive deep into it, you kind of just like, do I really want to know?
That's the thing.
Can I just erase this?
Soon I'm just like, after I feel like if I watch it, then I'll just like throw my computer and my phone into the ocean and then I'll just go live in the forest.
That sounds fun. I thought that too after I watched it. I was like, do I really need this? But my business is connected to social media, so it's a necessary evil. And yeah, so
here we
watch it if you want to be depressed and feel really bad about having social media. But it's probably not gonna. That's the thing. It's probably not gonna change most people's opinion.
But I guess it's good to be aware of what's happening.
You just know all your data's
limit yourself a little bit.
been stolen.
Yeah. Another one is Deadstream, and this came out last year.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
It's really fun. It's a YouTuber. He's very popular, but he's kind of disgraced. He's not very liked recently. But to win his viewers back, he does a one night live stream in like this abandoned haunted house, and it's really fun.
Oh my God, that scared me. There's real life horrors happening right now.
So yeah, it's him in the house, and it's like it's funny. It has some like good scary spots. But it's just there's like one point where he's like, okay, what should I do? And then he like has like a spinny wheel that he does to tell him like, should I go into this place or should I do this?
The wheel of chance.
Yeah, wheel of chance. It has like good, funny internet-y kind of stuff that like, people make fun of and stuff.
What's it on?
I actually don't remember.
Deadstream. You could Google it. That's what the internet's for.
The director, he stars in it, and he also did a segment in VHS 99, to Hell and Back.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So yeah, very fun.
I have the last one. Do you have any more? I think this is my last one. It's called Influencer. It's available on Amazon. It actually came out in 2022, but it hit like film festivals and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then it started streaming this year on Amazon. And it is about the influencer lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So everyone always sees the idea of an influencer. They travel the world. They get everything for free. They get to go to the nicest hotels and restaurants and yada, yada, yada. So it's this girl that's basically preying on those people. So she in this case, she basically attaches herself to an influencer and then befriends her and is like, I'm going to show you around. We're going to have a great time. We're going to be friends. And she then takes her to a deserted island thinking that she's like getting rid of her so that she can go back and partake in all of the things that girl was. She could stay in her hotel room. She could use, there was like a house that she lived in. So she would basically befriend these people and then take their stuff or like, yeah.
And but it's done. Trips and stuff.
We started watching it and I was like, Cameron just pointed out it's on Shudder. I was like, here's another influencer movie. It's going to be super, because you just have that idea of like, they're just going to poke fun at all the obvious things that we already know. But it was like 2 a.m. and we're watching it and I was just the whole time like, it was done so well. It was very fun. It was funny when it needed to be funny. It was like thrilling when it needed to be thrilling. It was a good story, and would highly recommend. I was actually telling some of my other friends that are in that kind of influencer world, I was like, no, you got to watch it. You're actually really going to like it. And one of my girlfriends texted me back and she was like, oh, that was really good. I really liked it. So we have some stories of
people being bad on the internet.
Yeah. Why are you being bad on the internet?
Be good on the internet.
Like, they're like being really bad on the internet. Bad. Like ends in moida. So my first one is a New Jersey man who used dating apps to lure 3 women.
For love? And happiness?
I feel like at the beginning maybe it was for love and happiness, but in the end he killed them. And he was actually caught by one of the relatives of one of the girls that was killed using social media to lure him. So it comes full circle, and that's how he's caught. So I appreciate that, but it's just really messed up, man.
Yeah, that's not fun.
So
not cool, bro.
His name is Khalil Wheeler Weaver, 25, of Orange. Just says of Orange.
What's his name? I'm sorry.
Khalil Wheeler Weaver. Say that 3 times
his
fast.
His parents hate him.
Khalil Wheeler Weaver. Whatever. Anyways, so we're going to start off with the good news. He's in prison, and he's going to be there for 160 years.
Got him.
He's never coming out.
No.
It says of Orange, but I think it's Florida, because I know there's Orange
they have
here.
Oranges there.
But the city of Orange.
Oh, okay.
But I'm pretty sure it's Florida, which tracks because they're crazy in Florida. Yeah. So he denies the responsibility. He basically says, nope, wasn't me. But there's obviously records of him interacting with these women. There's messages. It doesn't say which apps he was using. I don't know if it was multiple apps. But I love the fact that someone was like, hey, 2 can play at this game. We're going to get you. So I think it was the sister of one of the girls, I think she was the last one that was murdered, ends up getting access to her social media and makes fake accounts. So then she was able to basically see the methods that he used, the things that he said to her.
Is this the one that there's a Netflix documentary about?
Oh, I don't know.
There is. I don't know if it's this one, but there is a Netflix documentary about
like, this similar story.
A girl her sister went missing. And they pretty sure they know who killed her, but she basically outs him through. This is like back in like MySpace days, so I don't know if that's when this is.
This was in where's the year 2016, so this was pretty recent. No. So it's crazy because it's obviously like now the way court hearings are, everything's kind of public, so you can see the interviews, you can hear what they're saying, and there is him saying like, I do feel sympathy for the victims, my heart goes out to their families and friends, and he said, however, I was not the person that committed these crimes. And they're like, homie, we got it, we have evidence, like there's messages, we know it was you. And it's crazy to me, but I know that there's a certain type of person that preys on a certain type of person, and a lot of these people were kind of like, not necessarily what's the Netflix show, or not Netflix show, MTV show, is it called Clickbait? No, not Clickbait. That's the show. Catfish. Where they're targeting a certain type of person, and these people believe what this person is saying, and they're easily manipulated.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate because I feel like the idea of a dating app is fantastic. The idea that you could meet someone and not have to necessarily like
go out to a bar or
right, and like put yourself in a physically dangerous situation. Like you can vet these people, or you can message them and get to know them. And then there's like all of these assholes that end up using it for evil and taking advantage of people. And ultimately, we're in the day and age now where I don't feel like you can get away with it. At least in my mind, I feel like there's no way to really get away with it, especially if you're using home internet, if you're using your device, if there's some sort of like track record of you messaging people like that, none of that technically goes away unless you're locked out of accounts and stuff like that. But in the case of a murder being committed, there's always a way for them to get into and access to these accounts. So one of the last victims, he's basically offering her money for sex. So she was like, I'm not a sex worker. That's not what I do. I'm trying to find like a partner. And so it was, I guess, a cold time of the year. So he shows up in a ski mask, and she's like, oh, that's not weird. It's cold outside. And there was also the way this whole thing unravels is one of the girls gets away. So one of the girls escapes, and this is how he's found, because you think if that weren't the case, how many more women would he have lured into whatever situation and killed them? So she gets away, and basically this is where everything unravels. But the fact that someone shows up on your date in like a ski mask and like already offered you money for sex, if that isn't enough for you to be like, hey, something's up, let me call the police.
Yeah.
So she's able to say, hey, I left something back in the hotel, and he takes her back, and this is how she escapes. But I mean, this guy got away with this for, I feel like it was a couple years until he was finally caught, and 3 women, 1 who escaped, but he is very much in prison for a very long time. So all I can hope in most of these cases is that these people are just not very smart. And in most cases, they aren't. Eventually something happens where they slip and some information comes out, or they let someone get away and they ultimately are caught. But I have another one, and I'll tell it after yours, where you're like, oh, damn, that sucks.
Oh, God. I mean, all of these, they just end in, damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
My story is about Steven McCullin. He was a streamer, so he posted on YouTube. He did toy reviews. He was a big Doctor Who person, so he would do reviews of like the new episodes and stuff.
Like normal people things.
Normal-ish.
Normal people things, yeah.
Yeah. Nerdy kind of fun stuff. On December 18th, 2022, so this is very recent, he did a 6-hour live stream where he was playing Grand Theft Auto Vice City. And he's doing this live stream. People were saying it seemed a little weird because, so if you don't know at home, when you do a YouTube live stream, you can interact with people. There's a chat mode or area, so people can write stuff, and then if you're hosting this live stream, you see the chat and you can respond to people. So it's a very personalized, real time. It's very personalized. You can talk to the people who are viewing this, like us right now. We have no idea who's watching this because we're pre-recording it. But if it was live, you could talk to us and we can respond to you. So it was weird because he kept saying, "Oh, my system is I'm having technical issues right now, so I can't see the chat. So I won't be able to respond to you."
In some things, can't you turn off the chat? Or can't you
I think you can.
I feel like now that might be a thing.
He had it on. But he was telling the viewers, "Oh, just so you know, I'm having technical issues. Every time I try to look at the chat, it's glitching and shutting down my whole stuff." So I can't.
Which is totally that happens. So I guess
I can see it happening. It's kind of believable.
Yeah.
The stream itself, people were like, it was kind of boring for the content that he was doing. Like he was playing the game all the way through, and it just wasn't very fun. So, and there was also weird moments where he would take these frequent breaks, and there would be the stream will be right back with fire. The stream title was The Violent Night Christmas Live Gaming Stream. Streamy goodness, which I hate that. Streamy goodness, stop it.
That doesn't sound good.
So all fun. He does a 6-hour live stream.
Of just playing a game.
Of just playing that game. Next morning, he is trying to get a hold of his girlfriend. It's not, he's getting worried because he's not hearing back from her. So he goes over there, and unfortunately he finds her dead. His girlfriend was 32-year-old Natalie McNally, and she was 15 weeks pregnant. She was found stabbed. She had blunt force trauma and injuries to her neck, so possibly strangled.
And they didn't live together?
They didn't live together.
Okay.
So right off the bat, the police are like, it's him. Because, whenever
I was going to say alibi,
you
were streaming.
Well, yeah, so, but, right, whenever there's something with, a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, they always think it's the significant other. So they arrest him. But he's like, no, I was doing a 6-hour live stream last night. There's no way I could have done this. I'm innocent. Well, so then they start doing more investigative stuff. They look into the live stream a little bit more. Little does he know, you can tell if a video that is live is pre-recorded or actually live. So the way that it goes into YouTube, it tells you if it's a video. Because we've done premiere videos where you put the video and it says it's live, but it's a pre-recorded video. Right. So it plays as
We're
live.
just engaging.
So we can be in the chat and we can be typing with you guys.
But it's already been filmed.
The video itself has already been filmed.
So he thought he could pre-record something, upload it to YouTube, and it would show that it was live.
Yep. So that's what he did. On December 13th or 14th, he pre-recorded this 6-hour video. He's playing this game.
He planned this out. He was like, this is how I'm going to try to cover it up.
Yeah. But it's, he comes up with another excuse. Oh, yeah, I did pre-record it. Yes, you caught me. But I was at home drunk. I was drinking and I passed out and I fell asleep. So like the excuse of, no, I was at home. And it's like, no.
You already lied. So I can't trust anything you say after this.
And this also shows like premeditation because he did this like a couple days before. So like, it's very obvious. So they this happened in Northern Ireland also, by the way. They were checking CCTV in the area. They see somebody on CCTV about 2 miles away go up to a bus stop. It fits his kind of description, but the person is wearing a hood and a scarf that covers the bottom of their face. So the top of their head and the bottom of their face are covered. They get on the bus. They see him sitting on the bus. The person who this is, which it's pretty obvious that it's him, drops coins on the ground, and he's trying to pick them up off the ground. This is like a really weird detail that I thought was interesting. He's trying to pick these coins up off the ground, but he can't because he's wearing gloves. So he takes his gloves off and reveals he's wearing a second pair of plastic orange gloves underneath. So it's like, what normal person would be doing that? But he's very obviously like
a dumb, guilty killer.
To, like, go and murder somebody to cover up,
Because when he gets there to murder someone, he's not like, time out real quick. I need to put my latex gloves on so I don't leave any evidence.
So they have that. They have him on CCTV at the bus. They also have CCTV of somebody who matches his description, walks like him, walking down a street though. So her neighborhood really only had one street that went in and out. So you see him going in. She had a German Shepherd dog, and the neighbor said they didn't hear the dog bark at anybody or make any noise, which he normally would.
So he killed the dog, but he knew the person.
So yeah, it's obvious that the dog knew whoever came in. But at 9 o'clock, the neighbors heard a woman scream. And this happens in these stories all the time where it's like, the neighbor said they heard someone scream. And I'm like, wouldn't you go and investigate it? But at the same time, like, I don't know. Because, I don't know. When I'm joking around and stuff, I scream a lot. Like, as a joke.
Well, your neighbors aren't going to come rescue you if you're getting murdered.
I know, my neighbors aren't going to come because they hear me screaming all the time.
That's just AJ. She's a screamer. Just leave her alone.
Yeah, she's dumb.
The girl who screamed. It's AJ.
It's me. So then they see the same male on CCTV leaving at 9:31 p.m. He has a backpack and he's wearing different clothing. The thing that I thought was interesting, he took a bus there, but then it says he took a taxi back. So he paid for this taxi. The taxi driver identified him later.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the bus wasn't running, or maybe like some bus routes end at a certain time.
Yeah. But he didn't, I guess his original plan was he was going to have the taxi driver drop him off a little bit past his house. So like, it's not obvious of which house is his,
he went to.
But he didn't have enough fare. So then he had him drop him off right outside. So he went inside, grabbed money, paid the taxi driver, took 2 bags of stuff from the back, from the taxi, and then threw it over his hedge.
It's like these people just want to be caught. It's like they want to do this and they think they're so smart, but when you just say it out loud, you're like, dude, have you never watched a movie before?
Yeah, like you thought about it, but you didn't think about it.
And I'm glad he's an idiot.
Yeah,
I'm glad they're idiots.
That he got caught. I mean, it's awful what happened.
Absolutely.
And it shouldn't have happened. But at least he's not
he's an idiot and
still doing YouTube videos and stuff, even after this. They don't fully know, because this is, like I said, this is recent, so he was just recently charged. He was arrested and charged with her murder.
But he hasn't gone to trial.
Hasn't started. They don't think the trial's going to happen for a few more months, so we'll have to check back in to see how that goes.
Forever. Prison forever.
It better be. They don't know exactly why this probably happened. They think that
why did he go kill her? What was the purpose?
Yeah. What would make you go and kill your pregnant girlfriend?
Yeah.
They're thinking that because I guess she had started communicating with another man through WhatsApp. And one thing that I found was really interesting. So apparently, because I know they can look at your phone and see when it's been active, location and stuff, but they can actually see what you do when you turn it on, what apps you look at, in order and
essentially
stuff.
like a screen record, but not really.
But not really. I don't know if it's like data or something. I want to know. I need to look more into it. But the night before, they were spending the night together, and apparently her phone had turned on 9 times. It was unlocked 9 times, and her WhatsApp was open and her Twitter was open, but no messages were sent and nothing was done within the app. So they think that he checked her phone.
That was the night before?
Yeah, the night before.
Oh,
they think he checked her phone and saw the mess and was checking the messages. And her family confirmed that at least in November, so like a couple months before, he knew her passcode. So he could
get into it. But you were saying, so he filmed that 6-hour live stream thing days before.
Days before.
So
he was planning this ahead because
maybe
his internet browsing history, like pretty in early November, he was searching things like, is it more painful to be shot in the head or in the heart? And which is less painful, drowning or burning to death? So like even in November, he was already starting to plan how he was going to do it.
Maybe there was some indication he knew that maybe she was cheating or whatever, and then he finally got like the hard evidence and was like, now I'm going to do it.
Maybe he was just unhappy. Maybe he's just a dick.
Or he just
and he just used that as an excuse.
Right.
Like, who knows? His channel and the live stream from the night are still up on YouTube. People are asking for it to get removed, but I think since YouTube they're like, well, nothing happens in the stream.
Right. It's not related to...
like, he's not actually murdering her.
He's just claiming at the time that she was murdered that he was doing this, but he wasn't.
Yeah. And there was like weird, like one of those, I don't know if it's like, if he planted these things or if it's just one of those things where like, if like, now knowing what was happening while this live stream was happening, people are like questioning things that he said. Like at one point, like partway through, the live stream, like during one of the breaks, I forgot what image, but some image comes through and people are like calculating the time that he killed her and what time the live stream started. And they're like, that's around the time that he probably was killing her, that this image came on. I think it was like a picture. I feel like it was like Scarface or something like that. And then there was like one point, because he's playing Grand Theft Auto. So like in that game, you kill people and stuff. And I guess there was one point where he's saying like that bitch needs to die or something like that. But like, who knows if it's like looking back, it's like, is he giving hints? Is he dropping Easter eggs of like what is happening, or is he playing the game?
Is it coincidental that he's playing a game about killing?
And it's also interesting that like, the title of it is Violent Night Christmas Live. So it's like, I don't know. There's just like so many things where it's like, this guy is obviously a horrible person.
For sure.
And
a little mentally messed up to be.
You must think that he probably thought he was so smart. Like
absolutely.
He thought he was getting away with it. He's like, I'm gonna do this, and then they just started unraveling it and peeling back that onion, and they're like, nope, we know it.
Nope. I feel. I mean, a girl and her baby. That's crazy, and it sucks when stuff like this happens and you always hope that, was there something that was said or done, or is there something that someone might have noticed beforehand
to stop it?
But I mean, it doesn't seem like there was information that would have come out. She didn't seem to say anything or alert anyone that, hey, I feel like my life is in danger. He just snapped at one point and was like, nope.
Yep.
Well, we will figure out.
Yeah,
we'll keep up on the trial and see what happens. But I have a really good feeling that he's going to be locked away.
I mean, there's some hard evidence here that I don't think you can.
And he's on camera. I feel like when there's evidence of someone is on camera, it's not, you can't refute that. It's he's done for.
Yeah.
I have a story of Molly McLaren, and this was on a show which I was doing some research and I was like, oh, this show sounds perfect. The show is called Social Media Murders, and it came up as available on Apple TV. I clicked it, and then it said it's no longer available. So I think it was an old article. At one point, it was streaming on Apple TV. It's available online. It's called STV Player. sponsored by McDonald's. So you can still find it. It's the series is 3 episodes. Each episode is about a different social media murder. But Molly McLaren was in the UK. She was stalked and stabbed 75 times by her ex-boyfriend, Joshua Stimpson, in a frenzied attack after he followed her to a local gym and chased her into a car park.
Oh, I heard about this one.
So this one's crazy because there's so many things leading up to the actual stabbing where you're like, red flag, red flag. Red flag. Yep. And there was so many...
She needs help.
Yeah, and there were so many attempts where she actually did take the actions to be like, no, we're done. She fell back into the relationship. So she was 23 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. And she met her boyfriend, and I believe it was through Tinder. So she was a very kind-hearted person. From all of her like friends and family were like, she was the sweetest person. She had some issues in her life and finally felt like she was at a moment where she's like, I'm ready for a relationship. So she meets this guy. He was 2 years older, and I feel like things were fine until they weren't. And I feel like a lot of these stories are kind of like that. Like everything seemed fine. Maybe there was a couple things here and there, but nothing like to the point where you feel like, hey,
right off the bat, she didn't feel
and
scared.
She didn't feel like, this guy's scary or I need to get away from this. So she was in school. She turned to the dating app Tinder, and this is how she met him. And they matched, and she thought like she'd found the guy. She was like, this is the guy. I really like him. And then it says, but her decision to swipe right and ended tragically for her. So she was determined to take things slowly, which was great because I feel like that's not a thing that people really do these days. She was like, no, I'm not rushing into this. I want to get to know you. And as the relationship, I guess, started to unfold, people were saying, well, maybe he's bipolar, and that, I don't know if that was or wasn't the case. I don't know that they were able to really figure that out. And when those things started to come up, he started manipulating the conversation and the storyline to be like, well, no, maybe something's wrong with you. Maybe you need to go see a psychiatrist. Maybe you need to go talk to someone. And she's just like, no, that's not the case. So things slowly, as time goes on, she starts realizing something's wrong. So she was at our aunt's 60th birthday party, and she was there having fun, dancing with her cousins, and just having a good time. It's a family party. There's nothing really there's no reason to be jealous or anything. And he basically, family members were noticing him saying like, no, you need to sit back down. You need to, trying to rain on her parade. Like, you're having too much fun. I don't like that. So after the party was over, they were staying in the house, and she gets into an argument with him. And they're in a house, so it's loud, people are hearing. And she realized okay, I need help. So she basically texts her mom and says, I need help. They end up, she knows that she needs to break up with him, but she's just in that moment where you're like, if I do this, is it going to make it worse? Is he going to snap if I finally break up with him? So she goes to, there's another party that she goes to with her friends, and she finally pulls him aside and says, listen, this isn't working out. I don't want to do this anymore. He does not take the news very well. He basically gets on social media and starts harassing her and making up lies and starts this whole social media campaign to trash her, which, another red flag. So she already knows this has gone way too far. I did what I did. I made the right decision, and I am no longer with this person. So it's very apparent, her friends and family, they know they're no longer together. And so she's trying to kind of live her life and recover and do normal 23-year-old things. So she's at the gym one day, and he shows up. So she texts her mom, and she's like, if you see the article online, there's actually her photo of him at the gym, and it's close range. He's just laying on the ground doing whatever gym things.
And it's not because when you think of the gym, you think of there's the open room where there's the treadmills and bikes and stuff like that, but then there's also the equipment that you can work on. But no, this is one of because gyms also have the private rooms where sometimes they do group workout things, but when it's not being used for that, you can go in there and you can use it as a space to do your own little personal workout things. So it's not even in a space where there's tons of people around. They're in one of those, she was working out in that small room, And then all of a sudden he just comes in and is like pretty close to her. And it's like, who?
Huh? Why?
Like, what?
Well, and hindsight is 20/20, and people always say that. And it's like, knowing this, you probably should have gone to the police, and the police did get involved after the social media harassment campaign and everything like that, with him trying to basically like tear her down. But there's nothing that they could really do. He hadn't done anything.
There was also like a couple other times where like he would call her and because they lived there's a moment in time where they lived kind of far apart, and he would call her and be like, and leave a message and be like, I'm going to come over. And she'd be like, don't come over. No, I'm going to come over. So she would call the cops and be like, my boyfriend who I broke up with, he's like, go through like telling them he's coming over. I don't want him to come over, and I'm afraid something's going to happen. And they would be like, oh, this is just a lover's quarrel. It's not a big deal.
There was nothing that he hadn't attacked her. There was no, at least like that she had stated to the police, there's no physical violence or anything to have a restraining order. And I know that I feel like it might be easier to do that now. But if it's just harassment over the phone, like I feel like it has to be a certain level of harassment for them to be like, you can file a restraining order. And also that takes time, depending on the severity of it.
And also it's just a piece of paper.
Right.
Like, he could still show up. Like, it gives the police more of a reason to be able to arrest him.
Right.
But like, what if that is the time that he then comes and does something bad?
So she was basically terrified when she realized that he shows up at the gym. So she lets her mom know, hey, he turned, like her exact quote was, Mom, he's turned up at the gym and come next to me. And again, when you see that, we'll show the image. When you see it, you're like, dude, but what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. Like, it's a public gym. She could have gone to the owners and said, hey, I don't feel safe or whatever. But she talked to her mom. Her mom basically tells her, get home safe, drive safe. So at that moment, that was the last time that she and her mom had ever spoke. So Molly abandoned her workout. She waited until she had seen him leave before making her way to the car. So she thinks, okay, he's gone. I'm going to wait till he's gone, and then I'm going to make a break for my car, and then I'm going to go home. So she sends another text to her friend, and it says, I feel like I'm looking over my shoulder all the time, in reaction to just telling her friend, hey, what's going on? And as she got into her car, Stimson launched his violent attack on her. It was just after 11 a.m. with the kitchen knife he'd bought, and he stabbed his ex-girlfriend 75 times in the car. Like, that's during the daytime. Like, just not even trying to hide it, not even trying to, like, going into it just because he was so upset that he just attacked her, didn't even think twice about it, because in this case, there's no getting away from this. You're going to get caught, and at this point, he just doesn't even care. So she is in the car. There's a passerby who sees what's happening and basically tries to get him, like to take him. At this point, there's 75 stabs. I mean, I don't think that at this point she would have survived. Yeah. But the story says that he couldn't even like get a hold of him because there was so much blood. He couldn't grab him. So the guy gets away. Obviously, there's so much evidence that he's going to get caught. Like, there's text messages, there's photos, there's a bystander, there's CCTV. Like, there's no way that he's going to get away with this. The really, really awful thing is, if this wasn't awful enough, because people saw it happening and it went around, like people were taking videos and it hit social media, the family, her dad was away. And some of her family members that weren't close to her end up finding out about what happened before the police were even able to call them and let them know. Yeah. So in February 2019, a jury found him guilty of murder. And it says he was jailed for life and must serve at least 26... Wait, what? It says the jury found Stimson guilty of murder and he was jailed for life and must serve at least 26 years behind bars. I think it meant to say 26 life sentences. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
It could be, like, it's probably one of those situations where it's like after 26 years, you could possibly be released for on parole.
But for a brutal murder?
One of the Manson people just recently got paroled.
I could have swore that this one was the 26-year life terms, but like some of the articles don't. Yeah. They don't, like, it's not actually written correctly. I'm pretty sure. I mean,
because he probably could say, like, he was
plead insanity.
Not like, yeah, some sort of like mental break.
Yeah, but I feel like in this case there were so many steps to get to where it went to. Like, there was so many opportunities. There were so many people that, like, even when the police stepped in, that he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, man. It's awful. And I think that social media is a great tool. It's a great opportunity for people to meet. It's a great way to meet people that you would otherwise never have the opportunity to, like, if someone's in another country, you may not ever be able to visit that other country, but you could find them through the internet and find out that you're a perfect match. But in this case, these people, in this particular case, I don't think this guy was searching for someone to murder.
Yeah, I think he had something going on, and it's not good.
Piece of shit.
Yeah. As Cameron says, the piece of shit. And I don't think in your story that guy wasn't intentionally, like, using social media to find someone to murder.
Yeah, no.
He just used social media to try to cover up to
try to be an alibi.
Right, to try to cover up the fact that he was murdering someone. And then in other cases, there's online stalkers that are trying to find their next victim, their next whatever. It is hard.
Like, there are, like, like catfishing, where you don't know who you might not be talking to. Yeah, I don't know. I think just being cautious.
Yeah.
And looking for red flags, because I think there are times where, like, little red flags pop up, and you're like, people are so excited about meeting someone new or being in love that they kind of ignore these things. But I think it's like, just, I don't know, not be educated, but, like, kind of be like
work
aware,
smarter, not harder.
Yeah, like be aware of things that happen or could happen.
Yeah.
And I know, keep an eye out.
And I think a lot of these situations, I feel like there's not a lot of stories about the people surrounding them. Like, and maybe we're just not hearing it in the article, but, like, talk to your friends and tell your family, like, if you meet someone and something doesn't seem right, like, to give those little pieces of information, because if you don't, I feel like it makes it so that people have the chance of getting away with it longer. Again, all of these situations, if you're going to use social media as a tool to hurt people, you basically have, like, a track record. There's everything's digitally, everything digital never goes away 100%. Like, people can find it if you try hard enough, but they also have to know to look for it.
Yeah.
So if you're like, oh, I meet this person and they seem like unicorns and rainbows and everything seems perfect, even though you're like in the back of your mind, it's not, but I never told anyone.
Yeah.
You would be like, oh, it wasn't the guy that she met. He seemed so nice. She never said anything bad about him. So yeah, don't be a social media murderer, first of all. And if you get trapped in a social media horror, use the internet to tell people about it. And I think there's, like, in my mind, I think about this situation, and if I were her, what I would have done. And I think, like, go live on the internet instantly. Like, turn the camera on, and so people are seeing you, they're seeing where you're going. And maybe that wouldn't have changed. I mean, he seemed pretty fucking crazy.
I don't think he seemed determined in that he knew what he was doing. He set out to do a certain thing, and he did it.
And he probably would have still stabbed her 75 times if the camera was live, because he knew at this point, I'm going out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick on the internet.
Don't be a dick on the internet. Be nice to people. What did you say at the beginning?
I don't remember.
Use social media for good, not for evil. Something along those lines. Yeah. So if you're on social media, which I would say most of the world is.
Pretty much everyone is.
Proceed with caution.
And don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick on the internet.
Especially on a dating app. Like, people are genuinely trying to find true love. And then there's these assholes that are...
ruin it for everyone.
Yeah. Catfishing people and taking advantage of them. And it's just not a nice thing to do.
Not cool.
Not cool. Don't be a dick. Use social media for good.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts so you can watch and listen to all of our episodes. We have tons more of stuff that we talk about.
Yep.
If you guys have any suggestions of topics of things you would like us to talk about, or crazy social media horrors of your own, because I love hearing their like personal experiences.
Yeah, it adds a little bit more of like, not realness, but obviously this stuff really happened.
This is extreme situations.
Yeah, extreme situations, but like even like little ones. It's interesting to hear. Yeah, we want to hear it.
And we can share them for you to the world. All right, Fiends, that'll do it for this episode of Let's Get Spooky. Make sure to follow us on the social medias. Check us out at letsgetspooky.com. And don't forget to
stay spooky. Smash that like button, fam.
Yeah. No, don't say fam. I hate that word.
It's funny when you say it as a joke. I'm making fun of them.
We have an audience, and they said no fam.